Hello and welcome back. It's good to see you again. We are back here on Campfire. We're going to look at another challenge today. We're going to continue on the broken access control, and today we're going to talk about preventing and mitigating broken access control. So let's go ahead and create the lab. Click Browser Lab. And let's just continue to read the text. So strategies for preventing broken access control. Okay, so preventing broken access control requires combining technical safeguards with organizational practices. And that is very true. Secure coding practices. So there are different ways for you to apply secure coding practices. There are, of course, some ISO standards you can go ahead and follow. There are some sys controls you can go ahead and follow. There are some list stuff you can go ahead and follow. There are OWASP stuff you can go ahead and follow. There are so many things you can go ahead and follow. The most important part is probably to follow some of the first very important stuff is to include validation of user input, sanitation of data to prevent injection attacks, and ensure authorization and authentication mechanisms so they are robustly enough implemented. Also, you're going to go ahead and do something called regular auditing and compliance. And, there is no one solution done, you're good to go. There is a one solution done, next iteration pending. So you're going to do some audits and you're going to do some compliance checks to help. For example, if you want to make sure that you are ISO something compliant, or you want that certificate, or you want that, particular mark on your website that you did something like that, well, then of course you need to follow the different guidelines there are. And, this is the way it is. The principle of least privilege is a very important principle because most, I would say a lot of newly educated programmers use two, I've seen many use the root user if you installed some Apache stuff or some other kind of web servers or the Windows web servers. Well, you just use the user that you installed it with because it's easy and convenient. And then so we are done with testing and you go online, it's like you just, go online with something that is badly configured and you haven't used the least least privilege principle. There you go. and that kind of, makes your application vulnerable for attacks, because if you are, well, you could say like, what if you use the, okay, so I heard this many times. I use the root user, but my password is big. Okay, so I get it. Use a really large password, but you still use the root user. Your application is still vulnerable because if you're, okay, so that's the thing when people ask me, why is it vulnerable? Well, every application is vulnerable, but if you get access to something with the root user, and that is the user used, then essentially you've broken the system by just breaking one layer. And that is a vulnerable application, okay? So, automated tools and manual reviews. Combining tools with the human element of manual reviews offers a comprehensive approach to identifying access control vulnerabilities. So we got something called automated security testing tools, static dynamic application security testing, SAST and DAST scanners. They can identify code and running application vulnerabilities. They provide a scalable way to check for security issues regularly. And yeah, you can use software a lot, but you cannot rely on software 100% because it's only going to catch whatever it's programmed to catch. It's not going to think and find new ways, and it's not going to do that. So manual code review, like it also says, while automatic tools can find and catch many issues, manual code review by experienced developers or security professionals is crucial for uncovering more subtle logic flaws, or complex vulnerabilities that automated tools might miss. And this is what I just talked about. It's very, very important that you understand these things, because if you just use the automatic scans, you will, be vulnerable, and you will not find all the things that I need to find. I keep using the word vulnerable, but it's kind of just a way for me to clarify to you that it is not enough. I'm just going to close the Facebook window over here. It doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and open the lab. Lab is open. Let's open the browser. And now let's go ahead and copy paste this URL right there into the browser as we are tasked to open. And this is a tonic counter, keeping track of your tonic depth. I have no idea what this is, but it looks kind of funny, So it says, please help Alex P. Isaac get. It's highlighted in a way so we get the impression that it's a GET request, rid of his debt, maybe delete it to make him restful again. Hint, the API also accept delete requests for gin tonics. Maybe you can help Alex get rid of his debts this way. So the hint here is that there is a RESTful or REST API, and it accepts delete HTTP requests and get HTTP requests. We're gonna get a flag whenever we did the thing we need to do. So I'm just gonna, look at the page as it is right now, and it's like, okay, I think we'd sign up. So test, just some word test, add test DK, and test, I guess it's gonna be okay. So Alex P is here, and there's a lot of tonics there, and we can see that there are, very interesting interface. Pressing the profile test is gonna give us a 404 profile not found. Well, just not found the page. So we're gonna go ahead and check out what is going on here. And I think the best way to do this is to one more time open Burp Suite. We should really get used to using tools like Burp, because that is the ultimate, in my eyes, web pen testing and audit tools you can get. So we're gonna go ahead and just go to proxy and open the browser, and we're gonna press cancel here a few times. I don't know why it does that still. Let's just open the tonic one more time, and it's not an HTTP site. I think it's an HTTPS, sorry. And let's go ahead and log in. I think we can just do, if it's not too difficult, yeah, couldn't do that. So it's fine. Now let's go ahead and intercept on, and let's go ahead and just add a tonic. And in this particular case here, we are posting a tonic, and we can see that the origin and stuff like that, all this stuff you see like from this part here, and I would say in most occasions to around this part here, depending on what you want to do. Most of this is like, yeah, it doesn't really need to be, paid too much attention to, but there are sometimes some things. Then we have a JWT token. And I just believe that we can go ahead and just copy paste that. I don't think we need to do anything in particular, but let's just do jwt.io, and let's just paste it in. And we can see that, there is a Um, H is 256 algorithm as a JWT token. We have an ID of 4, some dates and stuff, and delete and username, email, about something, and tonics 7, and something called flag. That's very interesting. So I don't know if we should get a flag. So we also need to, this down here. We could of course brute force it. Last time we did this task, they used the word of challenge, and then we could go ahead and get the green area down here. So we had it verified. Right now we don't have the key, so that's why it's not verified. We don't have the secret. We could of course try to brute force that. We could basically just copy paste it and go to the machine. And as we did at some point in time, we opened, like, I think it's let's do nano, we just call it hash, and we can input it like this, and I think what we did last time, we used John, and basically we could home camera, is John installed? It is. So we could definitely go ahead and use John and just try and brute force it. I'm not gonna go ahead and do that right now. I think maybe it's not the right way to go, but let's definitely just keep it in our reach that we can use John to try and brute force the token. Not really sure if that is the case for this particular task, because it does talk about we should create different requests, delete and stuff like that. So maybe we shouldn't do this right now, but it's just a thing to keep in mind. We also get something called flashes. I have no idea what that is, but I'm gonna go ahead and forward this, sorry. And this is the get request. I'm gonna send that to repeater. And insert off, and let's go ahead and check it out. And it does seem like we have one more now. 1, 2, 3. Maybe let's just do this so it's easier for us. It's false, right? So that's 1. Add a tonic 2, and 3, and so on. Okay, so we have the repeater request right here. And I literally do not know if we can do something to this. We can of course go back to the HTTP history and see that we had like a post request like this, and that one probably added one drink to us. So we could also add that to our repeater. Yeah, it seems like that is true. So if we're gonna look at this here, and I reset this, I can go back here and press update, and we get, I need to sign log in again. I don't know why that's the case. So now we have one more. We can post again, I guess, and then just update, and then you see one more glass pops up. So the thing is, many people, well, we could probably just try and write delete, of course, and send a few times. And you saw that what happened this time, when I press delete 1, 2, 3 times, you see the glasses are disappearing. So if I do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, that's 4 left, and then like 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're gonna get a flag right here. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Copy paste it. All right, so I want to talk about what we did. Oops, I closed the window. What I did here is that I abused the fact that the same JWT token that, we didn't have to brute force the secret for. I did talk about it because I did see the fact there's something called flag right there. And I was unaware whether they were going to combine the other task with brute forcing JWT tokens. Then I had to do something and get this encrypted or something. I literally did not know what they would have done, right? So I just figured, well, let's keep it as an option for now because it could be a part of the challenge. It would fit perfectly, but it wasn't this particular time. So what I only did is I altered the request to delete instead of get. And because the JWT token, as we have it right here, consists of, sending, we can just take the one I have right here again. So you can see that this is the one I send all the time. So we delete that, put the new one in, and we can see that this is the one that's being sent all the time. It doesn't say anything about adding something or stuff like that, but that's a part of the functionality that's programmed behind the scenes that we're not seeing this. But there's going to be some code somewhere just saying I'm going to add one every time I get a post request with this number right there. I don't know what that actually means. We could, of course, just write post here and press send one more time, and then update it. And then we get 1. If I then type 2 right there and press again, it doesn't do anything. But let's do it one more time. So that's the next user. So in this particular case, if you were wondering what this number would mean, it's an actual user ID instead of the amount of drinks. And it could be that since we already have the user and the email address right here to identify the user, it could be, created in such a way. This would be the amount of drinks, but it was not. It was also an ID. At least it seems like that. So that's what we got from it, and I literally do not know how this, application is coded. I just have to verify, analyze, and basically, come to the conclusion that it might be that. And then I start to think about it. And this is the way you're going to do, you're going to conduct an audit if you are, for example, doing it like a black box wise, or you're just here to verify what is actually possible. This is the way you're going to do that. So there are some things here missing in order to make this more secure. The problem is that it just accepts these requests without any challenge or notice of all. It just said like, doesn't matter if it's a post or get or if it's like a delete, I'm just going to eat it raw and conduct functionality. So I can deduct the drinks that I have. I can basically add drinks to other users and give them, for example, more to pay, more depth, right? So I would definitely say that, you should always check on who is doing what, When you're deleting something, there are different rules to that. I always say that whenever you're going to interact with the integrity part of an application, in most occasions, you're going to have to re-verify yourself and, prove that you are the one. But again, should you be able to do the delete request? So that's another thing. You should basically just remove that possibility for the particular user. If it's a customer, for example, in the bar, shouldn't be able to, Alex shouldn't be able to, delete his own drinks. So basically, that's what I would do. And I just think that we should close down the room right now and say, let's go back to Campfire. I know that I totally, shut it down. So we had the last task here in the broken access control. And for this video, I want to say, thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something about preventing and mitigating broken access control, about the different, things this talked about, and how you can go ahead and test it. So there are some things you need to read up upon and to think about, to verify in your code. And also, I hope that, the comments that are giving this video is going to help you take, the better step whenever you're going to go ahead and develop your applications. All right, so see you out there. Have a really nice day. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to get future notifications. Also click the bell. Leave a comment below, and say, hey, I'm going to, of course, respond to that. So see you out there and have a really nice day.